A guy named Robert Putnam, about a decade ago, wrote the classic, definitive study of community in our society in our day. It's called Bowling Alone. And he cited research that the most isolated people are 3 times more likely to die than relationally connected people. In fact, Putnam said that if you do nothing else, if right now you're not part of a small group, if you just join a small group, it cuts the odds of your dying in this next year in half. That's why the motto of our small group ministries is, join a group or die. Another study looked at hundreds of people that volunteered to be infected by the virus that produces the common cold. Odd study to volunteer for, but a bunch of people did. Turns out that relationally isolated people are 4 times more likely to get sick than people in community. They are more susceptible, they have higher levels of virus, and they produce significantly more mucus than connected people. I am not making this up. Unfriendly people are snottier than friendly people.
Now, the Earth is unusual from other planets in that the Earth tilts on its axis at 23.5 degrees. Other planets in the solar system? Earth. Now, the question is, why does the Earth tilt? Well, if the Earth did not tilt, it would run the risk of becoming what's called tidally locked, which means one side of the Earth would get stuck facing the sun all the time, while the other side would never see the sun. So the one side of the Earth would get hotter and hotter and hotter until it could not sustain human life, while the other side would get colder and colder and colder until it could not sustain human life. So this 23.5 degree tilt of the Earth's axis is just exactly precise to allow this little blue and green floating ball to sustain human life, which raises the question, why does it tilt?
Try it a different way. Let me just try it just a different way. I thought I might need this, so I brought a golf ball, okay? So all through the evening, this is going to represent Earth, all right? So this is where we are. I need everybody in the building to look as closely as you can and find yourself, okay? And when you found yourself, I want you to nod your head so that I know you've located you on the Earth, okay? You nodding your head? Okay, you found yourself. If the Earth were a golf ball, the sun would be 15 feet in diameter. That's not 15 feet in diameter. Can we blow that up just a hair, maybe give them 15 feet in diameter? So here's a little perspective for you, okay? Is this working for anybody? Here we are on the Earth, and that's the sun. It's so big, you could put 960,000 Earths inside the sun. So if the Earth were a golf ball and the sun were 15 feet in diameter, you could put 960,000 golf balls inside that 15-foot in diameter sun. That's enough golf balls, by the way, because I know that seems like a big number, to fill a school bus with golf balls could fit inside the 15-foot in diameter sun. It's a massive star, and it's one of hundreds of billions of stars in the Milky Way galaxy, our cul-de-sac in the neighborhood called the cosmos that God has made. I love science, and science has just brought us the largest star they found. It's called, are you ready for this? Canis Majoris. Now, I'm no linguist, but that's a cool name for the biggest star we've found so far. I think that means the big dog star, and that's exactly what it is. I bring it to you as a little bitty purple, glow just to the right of center there. But Canis Majoris, oh wow. If the Earth were a golf ball, Canis Majoris would be the height of Mount Everest.
Believe it or not, this is called wilderness, midbar, but it's also called green pastures. Now, when you take a Westerner here the first time and you look at this, you find people say, well, I don't know that I can go there, because the Psalm 23, the Lord leads me into green pastures, has been pictured as belly-deep alfalfa. Well, you haven't seen any belly-deep alfalfa. And from biblical time to today, it's rare to see a flock in the farm country. There isn't a lot of farm country in this culture, and so farmers kept the shepherds out as much as they could. Maybe they would come in a little bit after the harvest to glean what was left, but you don't want sheep where you can farm. This is the land of the shepherd. Right on the hillside across from us, you can see those grazing trails, cut there by sheep maybe as long ago as Abraham's time. They're spaced so that an animal on one path and an animal on another can reach right to the middle between them. That determines the distance, so you can graze an entire hillside. And the shepherds lead their sheep across that hillside slowly, grazing what's there. Now, you look at it from here and you say, what's there? In fact, I remember my first impression. I woke up one morning, I was sleeping out in the wilderness, and I remember waking up, watching a flock of sheep on a hillside like this, and my feeling was, what are those, rock-eating sheep? I mean, what do they eat? How can you call this green pastures? Well, the answer is, there's a small amount of moisture present here. They get a little bit of rain every year. Not much, but a little. Second, there is humidity in the air, especially in the evening breeze. Like right now, you can feel it coming from the west off the Mediterranean. There's moisture in the air. That moisture, combination of the rain and the humidity, condenses or drips along the edge of these rocks here. And if you notice, right around the rocks, almost always next to the rocks, you get little tufts of green. Get one a moment. That's what we refer to as the green pastures. So the shepherd looks for a hillside. That's exactly what she was doing. Look at that flock across from us there. Just stunning. Those two shepherd girls have found a hillside that either was exposed to the wind or had that small amount of rain. And they move that flock across the hillside, and it's one mouthful here, walk a step or two, another mouthful, another mouthful, another mouthful. Now that changes the green pasture image a little bit, besides the picture changing radically. Green pastures are not everything you need for the rest of your life. If you make that belly deep alfalfa, then what God is saying, if you follow me, I'm going to plunk you down and you'll never have to move an inch the rest of your life. Just reach out and grab it. Tell me that your life with God has been like that. Worry, said one rabbi, is dealing with tomorrow's problems on today's pasture. In the desert, you learn the shepherd will get you what you need for right now. 10 minutes from now, you trust the shepherd. Just enough.
30,000 children today will breathe their last breath due to either starvation or preventable disease. Just try to put that. I try to think. 30,000 Joshuas and Calebs today will not be alive when we go to bed tonight because they had no food or no medical care for a disease that's preventable. 30,000 of them. Bring that into our context. Look at it from this perspective. If that were happening here, it's almost a little bit appropriate, this is not the purpose, that a little bit appropriate that many of our children are not in this worship service this morning. I want you to imagine with me for a second, if that were happening here, that would mean that every single child, 18 years old or younger, in Shelby County, every single child would be dead by a week and a half from now. About 16%, again, this is conservative, could be lower than this, but about 16% of this church tithes. It's about 16%. Which we talked about a few weeks ago, and we've talked about many times before, is an Old Testament standard of giving. You get to the New Testament, certainly we wouldn't give less based on the gospel than that which was prescribed in the Old Testament. The tithe is floor of giving, not ceiling. So 16% are at that floor. 84% not there. This is not good. And again, my purpose in bringing this to the table is not to say we need to raise more money for the church. Let's give. My concern is not the budget. My concern is our hearts. What would happen if our hearts were less consumed with the stuff of this world and more consumed with Christ? I mean, just imagine. There was research, I pulled it back out from a project at Stanford that was done. And they concluded if church members in America gave at least 10% of their income to the church, so tithe, and in 2 years' time, financially, they could eliminate global starvation and malnutrition, provide education for every child on the earth, and provide universal access to clean water and sanitation in 2 years. And that's not to say anything about unreached peoples. I mean, well, we know 6,000 people groups, a couple billion people who have yet to even hear the gospel that we celebrate and we know. And that's just it. We know these realities. We talk about these realities. And we know what the Word says about these things. That's why they're in your notes. I didn't put any blanks. Like the last thing I want us to do is come in here and open up the Word and just get a sermon on giving and fill out the blanks and say, oh, that was a good sermon on giving. Somewhere we're missing it.